Okay.
I have a Batmobile, a Bugatti.
Yep.
I can fight.
Yep.
Rich as fuck.
You can afford body armor and all the crap that
All the
Batman
crap,
needs.
can buy it all. I'm charismatic. There is nothing stopping me putting on a suit and being Batman. Anyway, you're all losers. We've discussed this before. I'm the king of the world. Hey, fuck you, ho. You ain't gonna do shit. Suck dick and cook. I'm the genius behind it. I'm the tech. I'm the emotional support. I'm the one who told her what to say and what to do. I will not have nerds as children. I refuse to have a nerd carry the lane tape. If my son is a nerd, one of us has to die, him or me, and I'll challenge him to mortal combat.
Jesus Christ.
Any room I'm in my house, I can produce a weapon. And if you can't do the same thing, you need to think long and hard about why you're such a little b****. I always park in disabled bays. I'm not a bad person, but I'm a quick person. Most people are slow and stupid. I'm fast. If you're the kind of person who feels like they need therapy, you're useless.
Hello everybody, it's me Salem. Welcome back to my channel. Y'all, my voice is finally back to normal. I don't have COVID. You know, my voice in my last video was absolutely awful, but now I'm feeling a lot better and I cannot be more grateful. But now I am extremely stressed because my wedding is literally in 8 days and I have not been able to sleep at all at night and I've been very nervous, but I'm also very excited. Also, if some of you guys are confused why I'm like a cartoon now, you should probably watch my other video that I uploaded like last week because I do like a full explanation as to why I made this creative decision. But if you're too lazy to go watch that and want me to explain what happened to you, the truth is that an evil witch cursed me into being two-dimensional for the rest of my life. So yeah, today's video is going to be very long, but honestly that's just because I have a lot to say on this topic, and also I have a special guest joining in on the conversation way later in the video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. I don't even know where to start. I was off of my platform for about 2 months, and during that break not only was I self-reflecting and awakening my inner higher being and getting in touch with my female energy, but also I was like scrolling on TikTok and just lying down and doing nothing half of the time. The TikTok algorithm is literally just like another one of these viruses that we have going on every 2 days. It's also scary because there's a virus out there that's even more deadly. It's even more toxic and it's even more oh my god, literally this is such a bad way to transition into the topic I might be talking about. But this disease is not something that you can see. Well, it is kind of something that you can see, but it's called
alpha male mentality.
Do you guys like my transition to the topic? That's the best I could give you guys. I couldn't think of anything else. Sorry if it was a really bad transition. I'm so sorry. So, alpha male, Andrew Tate. This is something that's happening on the internet right now and invading the real world, which is pretty scary. Stuff that's crazy on the internet can just be that, crazy on the internet. But you know it's really scary when the crazy internet stuff starts invading the real world, which is exactly what this man is doing. Ah yes, today we are going to be talking about Andrew Tate, the alpha king of all alphas, and his cult-like following, or what I like to call his fan base, his boyfriends, why he's famous, why it's dangerous that he's famous, and why his followers, they're a little slow. Even though I like to be gray in black and white topics, it's kind of impossible for me to be gray and in the middle because Andrew Tate is a person that is completely black and white. And if you're not in his corner, then you should go jump off a cliff because that's essentially what this man's ideology is. And it's absolutely horrible. The things I've learned about Andrew Tate has been completely against my will. It just keeps popping up on my For You page, on my YouTube. Everybody's talking about it. This man is literally the wanted maniac from SpongeBob, but it's even worse because he doesn't exist in Fishland. He lives here on our land, kind of like that one scene in SpongeBob.
I'll evacuate the customers. You call the Navy.
Hello, operator. Get me the Navy.
Attention, everyone. Run for your lives.
Andrew Tate.
Taking over the world. Our world.
That is literally how I would describe the Andrew Tate situation that's going on right now. In this video, I'm not really gonna go too deep into who Andrew Tate is. If I'm being completely honest, it would take me forever. And there's a lot of stuff about him that's like super controversial that I just don't feel like talking about. If you guys want like an in-depth researched video on like who he is and the scandals he's gotten into, I really recommend the video by Illuminati, literally called Andrew Tate, the Incel King. It's a really well-researched and in-depth video onto who Andrew Tate is. So definitely go ahead and give it a watch. I will bring up some points that I think are very important when discussing Andrew Tate to kind of emphasize and give you an idea of who we are dealing with, because it's not pretty. It's not nice. He's not a nice guy. He's a guy. He definitely wants to let you know that he's not a nice guy. He's proud of not being a nice guy, actually. According to him, if you're a nice guy, you are the equivalent of Omega male or whatever the hell the freaking chart of wolves are, I guess. I don't know. You're wondering why I want to talk about Emory Andrew Tate. It's because I can and because I want to, and because I have some opinions on him in some points I want to bring up in this video about him that I feel like a lot of people have brought up, but I just kind of want to piggyback on it and also talk about like my own perspective on him and his fans. Reminder, if you are a fanboy of his or one of his boyfriends and you want to comment down this video and talk about how I deserve to go die because I'm criticizing your Lord and Savior Andrew Tate, just know that people are allowed to disagree with your opinions, and just because people are disagreeing with your Lord and Savior, it does not mean that I'm a snowflake, and it does not mean that I'm being triggered. It simply means that I'm allowed to critique literally whoever the hell I want on the internet, especially someone that has done a lot more damage than good. So that's just my little warning for people who are already coming into this video kind of hot-headed. I'll try to be respectful as possible, but it's very hard because Andrew Tate is not a respectful person. So I guess the first thing we should talk about is who the hell is Andrew Tate and why is he literally all over the internet right now? So Andrew Tate is 35 years old. He is an American British kickboxer born in Chicago, Illinois and raised in Luton, England. And if I said that wrong, y'all, I'm sorry. God save the queen or whatever. He is also the son of an iconic chess player, Emory Tate, and his mother was a catering assistant. Andrew Tate worked as a TV producer while training as a kickboxer before he went on to fight professionally in the ring. He did make it pretty big in the boxing scene to the point where he got to have an appearance on Big Brother in 2016. But he literally got immediately disqualified and eliminated on Big Brother because literally no one liked him. There is a clip of him on the internet talking about how he was kicked out of the house literally almost immediately and how he was proud of it because he was proud to stir up drama. Congratulations, Andrew. You literally played yourself. You could have given yourself more screen time, but instead you got yourself eliminated super early. And it wasn't even that much of an iconic disqualification either. I'm sorry, but nothing will ever come close to New York's presence on Big Brother. And that's all I'm gonna say about that. The reason for his removal on the Big Brother show, it was a bunch of stuff, but one of the main things was because he's pretty controversial on Twitter and he kept being called out for his super offensive tweets. Which, are we surprised? It's so sad because, you know, everyone knows that Twitter is the happiest place on the internet with the most positive and beautiful people. I hate the internet. My parents were right. I should have just ended up being a history teacher. Could have been teaching about the history of the wagon wheel or something. Why am I doing this? Anyways, in a tweet in 2017, he said that depression is not real. If you feel sad, you move on. You will always be depressed if your life is depressing. Change it. Bruh. This fool really said, guys, if you're sad, just don't be. Heart emoji. My mans, I don't think actual, chemical imbalances will be solved with that, but who am I, a mere elf girl on the internet, to question the ways of the wise Andrew Tate? Bro, it's bad when J.K. Rowling responds to your tweet with something rational by saying, this thread will teach you a lot about the defense mechanism of projection and zero about the real mental illness that is depression. And literally a month later, he also got involved in some pretty heavy shit that I don't really want to go in too deep, but basically he victim blamed a lot of women during the Me Too movement, which is so freaking just so like, it's so unnecessary. I'm gonna put a screenshot of what he said and I'll kind of rephrase it for my followers who just listen. But basically he said, no woman should be a word regardless. However, with SA, they always want to put zero blame on the victim. Yeah, what do you mean? Literally, the whole point of SA is that there is an unbalanced power dynamic with someone holds so much power and so much abusive power. It's completely unbalanced, it's dangerous, and then they abuse that power over someone who cannot fight back. Of course, the person who is doing the damage is going to get the full blame. But I wouldn't really say that Andrew Tate is someone who's familiar with understanding abusive and power dynamic relationships when he says that he completely thrives off of unbalanced power dynamics in his personal relationships. And you guys already know how it works in society. Whenever someone is extremely problematic, they tend to get awarded for their tantrum-like behavior. And Andrew Tate was invited onto Alex Jones' podcast, InfoWars, which I'm not gonna say anything about that because I know how people get about that type of stuff, so I'm just not gonna say anything. All I'm gonna say is it's very interesting that at this point of time, despite Andrew Tate's very long history of being extremely toxic and not thinking before speaking, guaranteed him a spot in the Hall of Fame of the internet, especially on a certain side of the internet where people like him are definitely looked up to and praised for being outspoken, being free, and being different. Oh, he's different, all right. May I also add that during this, he was under a lot of police investigations because many women were reporting him for DA. Tate was accused of women, imprisoning them inside his home and then using them for sex work by making them cam girls and then would take their money. And he did this in Romania where the laws are a little bit loose on stuff like that. When he kept getting reported by these women or observers, he just paid off the police. And again, I won't be going into that too deep. Again, I really recommend that you watch Illuminati's video. I'm here to mostly talk about how he rose to fame. But after all of that, Andrew Tate found his way onto TikTok, creating a Hustlers University podcast and online learning platform where he charges his followers money a month to access courses about how to make money. If you have to pay money to have someone explain to you how to make money, it's not gonna work. You already failed step 1, my guy. What you mean you're paying someone to show you how to make more money? To me, buying courses on how to be a hustler or whatever is the equivalent of buying a $20 wallet when you only had $20. Now you have no money to put in the damn wallet. In these courses, Tate supposedly teaches subscribers how to get rich quick by selling memberships to someone else, and then those people can sell the membership to someone else, and yeah, it's an MLM. He also has his own separate club and like very closely knit relationships with certain followers who pay certain amount of fees to have contact with him. And these people are like Tate's dogs, like literally. He says fetch and they go and fetch. The Guardian reported that thousands of Tate's Hustler University members worked together to flood TikTok with videos of him in a blatant attempt to manipulate the algorithm and artificially boost his content. And you know what? It actually worked, because now Andrew Tate's face is absolutely everywhere. But you're probably wondering, what is this TikTok content that Andrew Tate is putting out there and his followers pushing forcibly onto the algorithm? Well, when you're a multi-millionaire, hustler, an MLM scammer, but of course ultimate alpha male as Andrew Tate, what else is there to make content on other than your insecure feelings and non-existent relationships with women and your projections on how your mom treated you onto random women that you interact with on the internet? Yup, you guessed it. Andrew Tate is bringing hashtag masculinity back into America by saying that women belong in the home and they are a man's property. He's also gotten really famous by saying that if a man sleeps with a woman while he has a girlfriend that he loves, it doesn't count as cheating. But if his girlfriend spoke to another man, he would consider it cheating. This literally reminds me of the meme where it's like, if she breathes, she's a hoe. Except it's even sadder because this is literally how Andrew Tate views women. Like, he actually views them like this. It's not satire. It might be mental illness, but it's definitely not satire. You know how I was talking about how he went to Romania to take advantage of women earlier? Yeah, well, he also followed up these statements with how 40% of the reason why he moved to Romania was because it was easier to evade R-word charges. And Andrew Tate himself literally said this, and I quote, "I am not an R-word, but I like the idea of just being able to do what I want. I like being free." My guy, my brethren, my fellow alpha male, if you have to say I'm not an R-word and then follow it up with the word but, I am not trusting a single thing that comes out of your mouth. Dude, you don't even deserve a platform. What do you mean but? There should be no but. You know how there's people that say, I'm an honest person, but real honest people don't have to say that they're honest? Apply that logic to what Andrew Tate is saying, and you'll see why I don't trust this man at all. It is absolutely insanity to think about this man having the massive following that he has after saying things like this, and just openly being this horrible person with terrible ideology. And what's crazier is people actually pay him to teach them how to be like him. If you type in Andrew Tate on TikTok, you're gonna get a variety of results. You're gonna get people who are criticizing him, but also people who support him. And then you're also gonna have an extreme side of that where there's people who downright want him to die, and then there's people who downright worship him. It's so crazy to see. But the most common type of videos that I see are literally young men who are like in their 20s, in their early 30s. I've even seen straight up like teenagers talking about how Andrew Tate always gets the W and that you could never cancel him. And just these young men completely defending these crazy things that Tate says because they think that it's edgy and cool and that in some way that he's correct. The amount of times I've seen people use the excuse, he's just getting canceled because no one agrees with him. Like, y'all want to cancel anyone who doesn't have the same opinion as you. Bro, okay, no. Let's dissect this statement for a little bit because I see it a lot when it comes to controversial figures and what they have said and done on their platforms. Here's the thing. You should be allowed to disagree as much as you want and as hard as you want and aggressively as you want with anything that anyone says, right? Let's say that you are a huge fan of the freaking musical adaptation of Shrek, okay? Let's say that you are a huge fan of that, right? You are a super fan. You have met all the people who played Donkey, Shrek, Fiona, Lord Farquaad, you know, my bae. You have gone to every show. One day you're talking very passionately about how much you freaking love Shrek the musical. And then someone's like, oh, I think it's like ass. Like, I hate it. It's no good. Like, I really don't like it. You're probably gonna be like, how dare you talk about Daddy Shrek that way? And then you'll probably go home and cry and mumble to yourself in the darkness while rocking back and forth about how I'm not crazy, I love Shrek the musical, it's actually pretty good. And then you go outside in the pouring rain and fall down to your knees and yell to God to smite you because there's no point in living if someone else doesn't like Shrek the musical. But then you don't get smitten by lightning, so then you just kind of go back inside your home soaking wet, maybe, you know, heat up a hot pocket, just kind of sit down with your cat and watch some Grey's Anatomy or something. You know, you're petting your cat Mittens and they like purr and stuff on your lap. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, see, people can disagree with what you like and what you're passionate about, right? And they can be as rude as they want. Nobody owes you kindness, unfortunately. It's super cool and awesome, and I think you should be nice to people, but unfortunately the world doesn't work that way. Now, the example I'm using is pretty light, you know, it's Shrek. Everyone loves Shrek. Some people don't like Shrek, which it's okay if you don't like Shrek. It's okay to have bad taste and it's okay to be wrong. But here's the thing. When it comes to having opinions on things that are very, very controversial, it becomes a huge minefield to navigate because there's always going to be someone somewhere getting offended over something that you said. Even to you, it might not be offensive, but other people can find it offensive, and people are allowed to get hurt over what you said. People are allowed to get mad over what you said. But I do understand that in this country, we have freedom of speech, and yes, you can say whatever you want. But I think that's a great power to have, and I just think that more people with the platform should use that wisely. Yeah, sure, people are trying to cancel him for some of the stuff that he said. But truly, that's not the point. It doesn't boil down to, I'm going to cancel Andrew Tate because I don't agree with him. It's a lot deeper than that. If you believe that the words of Andrew Tate hold much more depth and meaning than on a surface level, then certainly that can be also true to the people who are getting offended and wanting some sort of justice from him. From now on, I really want you to apply this logic to many things in your life, which is that two things can be true at once. Yeah, it's true that Andrew Tate is allowed to say all these controversial things, but people are also allowed to get offended and critique him. And just as the people who are critiquing him can also be very wrong in their critiques, they can also be very much right. So does this mean that Andrew Tate possibly has moments where he also is, right? After all, a broken clock can be right twice a day. Well, no. Andrew Tate is just wrong. The reason why I say this is because he's just far too extreme in all of his views. There is no balance. There is no way to dissect or possibly neutralize anything that he's saying because he's very extremist in almost everything that he talks about. There is movements where there is a lot of male spokesmen and male social leaders or content creators who are trying to bring back the manly man or manhood or masculinity, but I think the way they go about it is really, really wrong. And I think Andrew Tate falls underneath the umbrella of just going about it very wrong. If you're trying to cater your content towards men and bringing back the alpha male, then I think your main talk should be about men, not the majority of your content being belittling women, because the belittlement of women has nothing to do with you trying to create more powerful men. But of course, in the case of Andrew Tate, you cannot be a powerful man without the ability to belittle women, which is honestly such a sad ideology to have. I think if you're a naturally powerful person, you will find a way to get along with everyone of all types of backgrounds, beliefs, and personal stories. But if you're picking on a group of people who historically have had the lower hand in many ways, you're not that powerful to begin with. Now, don't get me wrong, I never want to come off like I'm infantilizing women, because that's just not the case. I think now more than ever, women are just kind of like doing their own thing. And when it comes to the alpha male, that really, really bothers them. It's like they get anxiety. They freak out over the fact that there are other humans who are different from them living in the world with them and they can't control them. So they have freakouts because they can't control them. It's so strange and it's so barbaric. It's very controlling. And unfortunately, this is also a word that Andrew Tate often uses to define a true alpha male, which is to be dominant, controlling, powerful, overpowering, and a lot of buzzwords like this. And to him, all those words are what masculinity is. Which, by the way, I just want to say that masculinity truly is a social construct. There is literally no rule book that says this is how masculinity is and should be for the rest of time. No, we as humans, as we evolved throughout life from being in caves and then to being in living under rocks and then minimalist houses with marble tile everywhere. We create scripture, we create books, we create everything, and we certainly have created the image of what masculinity is. And whenever it comes to buzzwords such as ooh, big, strong, leader, dominant, overpower, grr, to describe masculinity, I just can't help but not take it seriously because it's so middle school. It's so immature. The thinking behind it is so incredibly dumb. The equivalent to this type of thinking is literally man strong, woman weak. Man strong, overpower woman because woman weak. Bro, you can get the same advice Andrew Tate is giving you if you just talk to a caveman, which would make sense because Andrew Tate literally lives under a rock, and his ideologies definitely date back to the Stone Age, and all his followers are troglodytes. But I digress. The reason why I can't take Andrew Tate seriously is not only because of his problematic past, which, by the way, I do think that problematic and past tends to kind of be an oxymoron, because I do believe that your past can be problematic as hell, but as long as you learn and grow from it and transform from it, I think I personally could forgive you. But there's just some people whose past it's a web. It's a very messy tangle mishmash of all types of stuff that just can't be untied or undone because it's just too messy. And Andrew Tate is the type of person who has shown absolutely no transformative qualities, growth, or maturity. He has completely stayed the same person, a complete flat line for many years. It's as if he got stuck in a middle school boy mindset, a middle school boy who just started off watching Filthy Frank and iDubbbz in 2016, who drinks Monster Energy and got rejected by the first girl he talks to at the school dance, and from now on until forever he's going to hate women because of that rejection, even though it's literally not that deep. When Andrew Tate speaks about his beliefs, you can tell that there is just this very intense undertone to it that has truly nothing to do with what he's actually talking about, but instead an insane projection of probably deeper insecurities or frustrations that he struggles with in his personal life. This is honestly why I believe the whole alpha male trend thing on TikTok and social media in general is such a big thing right now. I honestly do believe it stems off of a lot of men's insecurity and inability to become dignified individuals. The whole point of the alpha male is to reject females and to reject cancel culture and reject all the snowflakes and focus on yourself and get money and get cars and this and that. And again, this is just such immature thinking where there is this new rhetoric that is being pushed online where all of your mental health troubles and all of your insecurities and all of your personal struggles can be band-aided with cars, women, and money. And trust me, my friend, that is the perfect recipe and the quickest way for you to end up very lonely and very unhappy. But see, the reason why Andrew Tate is the king of alpha males is because he pushes this message even further to an extreme. He doesn't believe that you should, ignore women and just focus on money. He believes that in order to be a true alpha, that you have to exploit women in order to achieve power and money and cars and even more women. In fact, he constantly brags about it. That's his whole spiel. That's his thing. You know this ideology is bad when Jake Paul calls you out for this. Jake Paul. Now here's the thing. I don't think it's wrong to like materialistic things. I love money, and the majority of people love money. Whoever said money can't buy happiness was probably just telling you that so they could exploit you so that you wouldn't be so bothered at them not giving you enough money to enjoy life as they're making off of you. It's okay to love cars and money and, having a house that's nice and stuff. But when you're teaching this to young people and telling them that their only goals in life should be getting bitches, getting cars and money, it's a very dangerous path to send young impressionable men on. especially at a young age where they're barely figuring themselves out and they're barely figuring out what they want out of life and who they want to become. There's a lot of questions, there's a lot of confusion around the age of, well, growing up, that installing these types of ideas in their brains can actually hinder them and even stop their growth and stop them in their tracks from figuring out what they personally want, what would be best for them. And instead they end up becoming people who they're not happy with, and they become people that they're not. Now, that's not me saying that there isn't men out there who love cars and money and stuff like that. If that's you, that's awesome, but not everyone is the same. And just as there is this pressure on women in society to be beautiful and be good at everything so that you can prove yourself, I feel like there is this unspoken rule in society where we don't give men enough attention when it comes to their standards, because it is often believed that women's problems in society are far greater than men's societal problems and pressures. However, I would argue that both of them are pretty shitty, and it sucks that anyone has to deal with society's impossible standards and pressures, but they definitely are incredibly different and have different types of damages to them, which can result in either a bigger damage or a smaller damage. The content surrounding most alpha male content creators or male dominant content creators, they always talk about how men care a lot about what people think, and a lot of their content is surrounded discussing the insecurities that men face and how they can overcome those said insecurities. And from what I gathered from all this type of content, usually men are insecure about their hair, their body image, their financial status, being rejected by women, being vulnerable, their nether region size, and status. Which is honestly no surprise. Women struggle with the same exact thing. Humans are very naturally self-conscious creatures that crave to belong and be validated and be something of substance, to matter. And I think more than ever, just the whole concept of insecurity has been heightened by like 1,000,000% ever since social media started to become a very normalized part of our lives. People are now becoming self-conscious about things that I didn't even know existed. Like, women are now self-conscious about hip dips. I didn't even know that was a problem until I downloaded TikTok. Men are chewing gum like crazy to get sharp jawlines now. And because social media is very vain and materialistic, I think it's affected men and women so much in this day and age than those things ever have before. Whenever I speak about women's issues with social media being so normal, I often talk about how it's super normal to see women with BBLs and then they lie about getting that surgery, and then it confuses women who have natural bodies because then they're like, why the hell don't I look like that? Or some female influencers use filters and they use a lot of apps to make themselves look better than they actually look in real life, which can be very harmful for impressionable young women. But honestly, the same exact thing can be said about men and male content creators and male influencers. And that is something that I have yet to talk about on my channel, but I think now is the perfect time to deep dive into it. The male content creator world is very different than the female content creator world. In the female dominated content creator world, we often see a lot of copy paste Emma Chamberlain like content creators, but in the male dominated content creator realm, we tend to see a lot of copy paste creators like Mr. Beast or Logan Paul. And again, guys, this is not me saying that all female or male creators are either Emma Chamberlain or a Logan Paul. Please don't be so extremist. I'm just using this as an example. I said in my last video that Emma Chamberlain is one of those content creators that kind of cracked the secret formula in attracting a young, female-dominant audience, which has guaranteed her a lot of success. And the reason why there's so many copycats is because they also want to follow in that path of success. Now, when it comes to male influencers and them wanting a male-dominant demographic, and they try to appeal to the demographic of young men, their content looks a little different. Again, like I said, this isn't me saying that all content creators who are male do this. Obviously, there are tons and tons of male content creators that this doesn't apply to. Same with Emma Chamberlain and me using her as an example. But what I am saying is that the top influencers who have like the most influence in the YouTube realm and Instagram realm often follow this formula. I personally call it the rice gum effect, where the formula is to be a very outspoken personality who is a little offensive, does diss tracks, dresses in hype beast fashion, has the latest model of cars and shoes, and always has women in every Instagram picture. Obviously, Rice Gum now is a completely different person and he has a girlfriend and he's doing his own thing. But when he was in his height in 2016, I feel like the YouTube algorithm and society kind of shifted to really preferring really big content creators to kind of do the same thing, which is to flaunt their wealth and flex on the hoes. And ever since social media became like this huge thing and content creators are able to now make money off of flexing on them hoes, it's so crazy because I feel like there is now this microscope on a ton of just regular men who aren't a content creator or influencer on Instagram and YouTube to kind of mimic the ways of men who are popular on these social media platforms. It never really ends up working because when you try to flex in real life and you ignore everyone's feelings around you in real life and you are a douchebag in real life, literally no one likes you. And this is why the majority of these men who fall victim to trying to fix their insecurities with cars and money and it never works out for them, because in real life you just come off as a scumbag. And honestly, this is why a lot of people don't like Andrew Tate. It honestly takes away from young men becoming unique individuals and it replaces them with being a copy paste of these soulless, materialistic and vain influencers that they see. But at the same time, I can't really blame young, impressionable men for falling victim to this type of lifestyle of like hustle culture and alpha male rhetoric, because it's absolutely everywhere. And I find that there isn't much good male role models on the internet for young, impressionable men. And because there is this huge absence of good role models for these young men, people have to remember that there is people lurking like Andrew Tate. They're just waiting to find prey. Right? He's the alpha male, but unfortunately his own followers literally are his prey, and he preys on people who are incredibly insecure and takes advantage of them and their money. Andrew Tate literally does not care about you. I said earlier in the video, the man literally runs an MLM. You have to pay him in order for him to give you life advice. That just ain't adding up. You have to pay a monthly fee, and the more you pay and the more you pay and the more you pay gets you closer and closer and closer to Andrew. And I just don't see how a lot of his followers don't understand that he's literally taking advantage of everyone financially, and he's getting richer by exploiting their insecurities and kind of keeping them there. I feel like more than ever there is a lot of desperate young men who are incredibly vulnerable, and obviously they will never admit to it and they don't realize they are, but they're incredibly susceptible to ideologies that can be incredibly damaging because they're so desperate to find community and identity in absolutely anything and something. And it gets very dangerous when people like Andrew Tate swoop in to take advantage of that. But of course, not all men are going to fall into this trap. In fact, because all these alpha male content creators and influencers like Andrew Tate, their demographic and main target audience is young men and men in general, why don't we talk to a man? Because I know a guy. A 25-year-old guy who is the main target audience of all these content creators and see what his insights are and how he's experienced this cultural shift of alpha manhood. Everyone, welcome my soon-to-be husband, Kevin.
Hey guys, how's everybody doing?
He's gonna be represented as a stick figure because I didn't have time to draw an animation for him. So this is my stick figure fiance. So you are a guy.
Yes, I am in fact a guy. I was assigned male at birth. So we're talking about Andrew Tate.
More like Andrew thought he ain't.
No, seriously, he's terrible. Honestly, he's kind of, to me, he's like the equivalent of everything that's wrong with like males in society right now. Where, you know, sadly, we don't, as you said earlier in the video, there's not that much representation, especially for young adult men. And it's so weird, like, I'm so confused why they like come to him like a flock of like
sheep.
I genuinely don't understand like what they're missing, what they see in him. It just seems like a lot of misguided people who get on the internet. They're like in this like little vacuum and they're like, oh yeah, he's saying stuff that I wish I could say to women. But it's like, why do you want to drag around that much negativity? Do you guys not like women? What's up? I don't really understand.
Damn, Kevin. Well, you came in hot already. I was just gonna interview you, but it seems to me that you have a lot to say about him.
Go ahead, please. My time is yours.
Thank you. So you said something while you were ranting.
Mm-hmm.
You said, what do his followers see in him? If I were to put myself in the perspective of someone who is a young man who's barely developing his identity and self-worth and everything, I'm sure that you had a phase in your life when you were also a younger man, right? Or like a teenager, and you were very uncertain with who you were. And I know that you were working out for girls. I'm sure you can relate to that feeling of like, man, I need to get some muscle, I need to get a job, I need to get a car, right? That social pressure. I need to start getting involved in some girl's business or whatever. I think what attracts these types of men and boys and teenagers, whatever, is the fact that Andrew Tate seems to have
it all.
Yeah, essentially have it all.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's all fake. So the issue with guys nowadays is that they don't really have like a personality of their own. They don't explore, they don't try to grow, they don't like do anything that's gonna benefit them. I don't know if they just, no one ever sat them down and said, hey, you should do something that also makes you happy, that benefits you, because you can't really be relying on a partner or everyone else's validation.
So would you say like young men who seek out cars and stuff like that it comes from a place of,
they seek out validation from society and other men, because that's the truth. The thing is, they'll go work out, they'll try to get this high paying job, they'll try to get all these women, and then let's say like
it's to impress other men.
It's to impress other men, or you know, to quote unquote try to get other women. But as soon as they get a woman, or they just get really comfortable, they stop working out, they stop eating right, they stop doing all this, they get super lazy. And it's like, so was that really a lifestyle, or was that just fake, that something that you just did to try to, you know, get validation and attention?
When I think of like Andrew Tate in general, I do see him as a true man's man. I think he makes content for men. Obviously, he makes content for men.
For broken men. The real issue with someone like Andrew Tate is that he just gives you a bunch of lies. I
think, yeah, right.
As a society, we're trying to move forward. You know, women have been pushing to be empowered and to have their own identities. We're all trying to move that way. Minorities, everyone. Minorities, LGBT, just people who were outcasted back in the day. They're trying to be heard, they're trying to be seen, and a lot of these men are just being left behind.
They're not truly being left behind. I think they're
choosing to stay behind. That's the issue.
Exactly. They are choosing to stay behind because kind of when like you expose cavemen to fire, right? They thought it was scary and stuff, and also kind of like revealing that there's constellations to, you know, olden age religious people. They don't like change and they don't like uncertainty. They don't like anything that they can't possibly control. And I think that really stems off of insecurity in yourself, that you don't believe that you can handle that change, and insecurity and you feeling like you're not going to belong in the new phase of life, and they automatically get left behind because of those deep-rooted problems that they have. And the problem that I have with Andrew Tate is that you can tell right away that he's kind of like, when he speaks,
he's hurt.
Not only is he hurt, It's that he
Trying to make up for something?
no, he definitely enjoys being left behind because then he can play victim.
I see.
And it's so crazy to me that a lot of his followers don't realize that he does play victim. But he always pulls the men's mental health card all the time. Whenever someone critiques him, or as soon as someone like makes a valid point, he's like, oh well, you know, I don't think this and that and that, and men's mental health. I'm like, my guy.
I thought he said he doesn't believe in mental health.
Oh, but it does exist when it comes to benefiting his narrative of him being a victim.
Of course.
Of course it does.
Honestly, it's just sad.
Which is really ironic because literally he always says that masculinity is overpowering, it's overbearing, it's dominant, and that's not very alpha male, right? So I think, just like we were talking about earlier, there's this incredibly lost demographic of young men who are trying to find their identity in honestly that literally does not matter. And the way masculinity is defined nowadays, it's so hard to truly define because yeah, it's a social construct and everything. And then there's also the whole argument of biological sex, and then there's the sex that you feel outwardly and inwardly, and just all these types of things, right? That makes it super hard to dissect. But for you as a cis male, for you personally, what aspects of quote unquote manhood has been lost? Because according to a lot of these content creators, manhood is that they think women are taking over, that men don't make money as they used to, that men are lazier than ever. But to you, what do you think is being lost?
Man, I think what's being lost is people actually taking accountability for their actions. I think nowadays everyone always wants to play the victim. And the things that just creates a bunch of like man babies, or just people who don't actually truly grow into like their adulthood. They don't really understand what that means. For me, growing up, you know, I had a lot of issues with family members, with what a real man, or I guess quote unquote, what a man should be in a household.
Right, because you were a young man growing up, and I bet there were so many people in your life trying to tell you what manhood meant to them.
Yeah. And I think, you know, being together with you taught me one major thing, is that to be a real man, just to be a good man, I guess, not the best man, just to be a good man. First of all, instead of trying to worry about how much money you're gonna make, you should worry about your emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence to me means that you understand, if you want to be this leader, if you want to be, you know, like the head of the pack, blah blah
the
blah,
alpha male.
the alpha, you have to understand what everyone feels around you. You have to understand how, you know, like what people's strengths and weaknesses are, your own strengths and weaknesses are, where your feelings lie. You can't be, if you want to be a real man, you can't be like overacting, you can't be yelling at people, you can't be yelling at your girl for whatever damn thing, right. Like you can't be blaming every other person.
And the one of the main problems with that is that content creators like Andrew Tate preaches the opposite, which is that you should be aggressive, that you should be overpowering.
Women are this, they suck, they do this, they do that.
Right.
If you mess up, she's gonna like find a way to like backstab you, basically.
Which it just shows that he is a person that literally suffers from extreme paranoia and self-consciousness, because that type of behavior and type of thinking isn't normal. It doesn't come naturally. It comes from literally trauma.
Yeah, and as a man in my household, personally, I think, you know, if I have all this power and all this blah blah blah, and I can be overbearing and loud and this and that, I think my first thing should be to set peace in my own house. It shouldn't be to expect the worst from you or fear you, as, you know, that fear that you're gonna undermine me and this and that. Like that's
so ugly.
It's so ugly. Like,
it's so ugly.
If I'm supposed to be the alpha,
like why are you?
Why am I so afraid? Like you're gonna do this, and like I feel like you know, as a man, I want to encourage other men to be brave and to be courageous and to like actually try to love, you know, their partner, like truly love their partners and fall in love with them, and just have that like. Try to always keep that like honeymoon face alive.
The whole concept of an alpha male is that you don't do that though, because you're not supposed to be vulnerable, you're not supposed to show weakness, you're not supposed to essentially be a woman.
That's what's been lost. They're not brave anymore.
Were you saying that it's like brave to like love people unconditionally?
Yeah. it's brave to go out and say, you know what, I love you, and I don't care what you do, I don't care where you go, I don't care what you say, I just want to love you for the rest of my life. I want to be your man.
Love your homies and say that I'm gonna be your man to your homies.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, guys will say that to each other all the time because it's easy for them. It's easy for them, like men to men, it's easy. But we have this like rift between men and women. And then we have Andrew Tate saying, oh yeah, screw, like basically like screw women, let's use them.
I think even in a platonic way, it's important to love people unconditionally.
Yeah.
It's so funny that you bring that up because even platonically, you know, bros will tell other bros like, I'm here for you, man, you know, whatever.
They'll do the most.
They'll do the most.
Yeah.
The way Andrew Tate speaks about his brother.
Bro, he
literally said, my brother could sleep with my woman and I'd still love him because he's my bro for life.
And it's like, excuse me, why isn't that love for your wife? Like damn.
I ain't got no wife for a reason, but
I know, but that love should go.
Where's that devotion, that unconditional love, that grace and that mercy towards just everyday people and everyday women, you know what I mean, that he keeps bashing? So they be doing the most with like supposedly loyalty and all this type of stuff, but then as soon as it comes to real that gets down and dirty, right? Where your homies at? And then y'all start preaching that you have bad mental health. There isn't truly that platonic, unconditional caring for one another in a lot of male relationships. It's very surface level, but doesn't go deeper than that. And I feel like Andrew Tate is definitely one of those people who are very surface level, and that's why it's so easy for him to cry men's mental health, which yeah, it is a big deal, but at the same time, where's that community within men? Where is that friendship amongst men? It's so surface level, it's not anything deeper.
You have to pay for it if you want it, baby.
Oh, right, I forgot. You have to pay Andrew Tate.
You have to pay for it if you want to get into his club so they can give you advice on how to make money and how to make friends.
Because that's true friendship. In fact, our relationship isn't even real, Kevin. I literally, you pay me to be here, actually.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. It's incredibly easy for him to be surface level because he isn't truly gaining anything else that isn't surface level. You know what I mean?
He just cares about people's money. That's it. And it sucks that he's
just another random dude on the internet that's giving random ass advice out of his ass. And you know what's so funny to me? I think anyone who's truly strong will not let themselves become that accessible. So you telling me that you as an alpha male are listening to a random bald guy on the internet giving you advice on how to be? That's not very alpha to me.
At all.
Why are you making yourself so accessible and so easily like brainwashable? That makes no sense to me. He's literally a random person on the internet that you do not know personally. And if you do want to know him personally, you have to pay him a lot of money. How is that not sketchy to you? It makes no sense. None of this makes sense. And that's why he literally just says whatever he wants. I think the reason why young men are so attracted to Andrew Tate is honestly, like you said earlier, it really is that they just crave saying dumb shit without any consequence. That is literally it. Because there is so much hatred and so much hurt and so many people on the internet in general, but especially with young men. Everyone always talks about, you wouldn't survive in a Call of Duty game chat room, whatever. I wonder why that is, because every opportunity they possibly take to say anything like horrible to a person, they take any opportunity, any slight chance to yell and vent their frustrations and project. It's absolutely insane the amount that they're holding in. And that's why they're so attracted to someone like Andrew Tate, because Andrew Tate doesn't hold it in. He absolutely goes ape with his actions and how aggressive he is, and that's desirable for young men because they can't do that. Because guess what? In real life, if Andrew Tate was not a celebrity, take away his money, take away his cars, take away his social media, he would get decked in the freaking face.
He's just another douche.
He's just another douchebag. Yeah. That's just the truth.
So it sounds to me like a lot of men really need therapy. Honestly, like it just sounds to me like they need a lot of therapy.
Is that the conclusion to my video? Okay guys, that's the conclusion of my video. Get therapy.
They like really need help, because following all these like advice, they're just, they complain like, oh, women, all women on the internet think that we're that bad, guys are bad, blah blah blah, and this and that, right? And they'll be like, not all men and this and that, but it's like, bro, all you guys are like, when Andrew Tate says, let's go beat up, like, let's go abuse, or women or whatever, and they'll be like, yeah, oh my god, he's a king.
All of a sudden these fools become nematodes. Thirsty.
And it's like, so you guys are all bad, and you guys like being bad.
I think, of course, yes, the truth is that it's not all men, but it is a percentage that is big enough to the point where it's very much a problem, and it's enough for people to start speaking out on it. Of like, y'all's behavior is not normal. Like, I'm sorry, this day and age on the internet, it's not normal to be following someone like that.
It's not
this isn't normal.
It's not normal, and you need help. And stop saying, no, I'm just. You guys are being like snowflakes. Like, the only snowflake here is you, man. The only one who gets hurt over everything is you. The only one who truly needs help is you. Like, you are alone.
But no, Kevin, because like having depression is for people who go to Weenie Hut Juniors, remember?
Oh my god. Again, they're just...
According to Andrew Tate, me and you are people who should not be talking, because if you were to talk to Andrew Tate, Kevin, he would send you to Weenie Hut Generals.
I'll send them to Weenie Hut Generals too. I guess we both gotta go.
Yeah, you guys can hold hands and share a milkshake.
Yeah, because I mean, if that's where I'm going, that's where all the bros are going. I feel like he needs to go. He needs to come with us too, because he a bro,
I'm going to the Salty Splatoon.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Remember when we took that quiz and it says that I would go to Weenie Hut Junior?
You were so bad.
I was so mad
because you kept saying that I was gonna get the Weenie Hut Junior. You got the Super Weenie Hut Junior. and I got the Salty Splatoon. Oh my
that's
god.
true. Okay, Andrew, if you're watching this, which by the way, guys, he's literally subscribed and he does comment all the time. So he's one of my followers. So Andrew, if you're listening, just letting you know that we took a quiz. It's scientific. This is fact that he can go into the Salty Splatoon. I challenge Andrew Tate to take that quiz to see if he can get into the Salty Splatoon. If you can, then I'll shut up. I'm pretty sure you're gonna be joining me at Super Weenie Hut Juniors.
Ooh, damn. It's probably true. He'll be like, I don't care, I'll just make another one.
Here's the thing, he's just like
He kind of fruity, I'm not gonna lie.
Bro, he hella fruity.
He's super fruity.
Why you care about so much of what men think? Seems kind of fruity to me.
I don't talk to women, but I'll let my brother do it with my girl.
Oh, I'll let my brother cuckold me any day, bro.
Sounds kind of fruity to me.
I'll even watch him, bro.
That's really far. Damn. The thing is that I could believe it.
That's the thing.
And he'll be sitting in the back, like, smoking his cigar.
He smokes?
Yeah, he smokes cigars. There's a video of him saying, like, don't vape. He's
I was gonna say, I've seen that video.
Yeah, he's like, don't vape. He's like, just breathe, or some crap like that. Like, just
okay, that's kind of funny, though.
it is kind of funny, like, but I don't know. He's just ridiculous.
I think that he knows what he's doing, too. I'm not gonna say that Andrew Tate is stupid, because he's not. He's just like Onion Boy. You know what I mean? For those of you who don't know who that is, search him up, because I can't say it, but also I get demonetized. But he's just like Greg. They, to an extent, are who they present as on the internet. But it's also exaggerated too, because they know what gets clicks. They know what gets views.
Yeah.
They know what gets people mad. And that's why they be rich. You know what I mean?
That's true. I mean, he knew what he was doing. He's like, I'm going to go to, where'd he go? Romania, yeah. He's like, I'm going to go over there. I'm like, he knew exactly that he's going to go over there, use people, use young men. He's going to scoop up that whole, that leftover in society of men who are going to follow you. Like, he knew exactly what he was doing. He doesn't care about anybody other than himself.
Oh, no, because let me tell you, if you know how I love to use imagery. Imagine this. You and Andrew Tate are on a hike. You are on the tallest cliff of the tallest mountain, right? You stumble and it becomes a literal cliffhanger where you're just hanging off the cliff, right? You're like, I'm gonna die, save me, and stuff. Do you really think Andrew Tate's gonna save you?
No, and that's what I don't.
Damn, you didn't even hesitate.
And that's what I don't get. It's like, so he's out here like,
You know what he would do? He'd be like, hand me a 20 and then maybe I'll consider it.
He's out here like basically not women. He's just a glorified, okay, using other people for his own benefit. and out here claiming that he's a mafioso, and that saying all this stuff
Mafioso.
like yeah, I know, like bragging about like that he pays the cops. It was funny, baby. Saying that he pays off the cops and this and that. It's like what?
Now you bragging about being corrupt.
Yeah, for me it's like, why do like so many guys like what do they look up for that? I don't get it. Like, why do you want to be like a piece of crap?
No, literally, like, why do you want to be a piece of shit? Like, for me as a woman, I don't view manhood like that either, but I also don't view manhood as being gentle and whatever they would call as feminine or whatever. The way I view manhood is that it's a balance of both the feminine and masculine and the in-between energies, and being able to be smart enough and tough enough and firm enough in yourself to be able to know what energies to tap into with everyday situations.
I'm just gonna say, I invite all the young impressionable men who are gonna be listening to your stuff, or maybe an Andrew Tate fan who found this video and wants to like write down, "I hate you, Salem. You're wrong and you're triggered."
You're just mad that you're a fat bitch.
Oh my God! No, like I invite all of you guys to, like I said earlier, and like you just said, first look into emotional intelligence. Look into how to actually be assertive, how to actually like use your feelings for something good, because a lot of those guys just wanna, from what I see, is that they're mad at something or blah 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 or frustrated, and they want to take it out on everything.
Well, emotional intelligence to the alpha male is supposedly to not have any emotion, which is actually literally not being emotionally intelligent at all.
And that's not really being a man. That's not being a grown man.
Because I said way earlier in the video, I said if you're truly a person of power, you will find a way to get along with absolutely everyone.
Yes, you should.
I feel the same way about manhood and emotional intelligence. If you're truly emotionally intelligent, you'll be able to perfectly balance when to be empathetic, when to be sympathetic, but also when to be stern and direct.
A lot of people always fight for, men, we need like families that are like whole, like a mom and dad, blah, 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 right? It's like, okay, if you want that, you also have to realize that a lot of men just aren't balanced. As a man, as a grown man, as a father, you have to be the representation for, like, especially if you have a younger boy, you have to be that role model of of a balanced person who gets along with her, blah blah blah, who actually helps society. But if you can't do that, then don't push for, man, we deserve to be here. Don't push for that, because you're not up for it. You just can't do it.
The MGTOW guys.
The men going their own way. They're the same.
Yeah, they're going definitely the one way, the wrong way.
Yeah, they're part of the problem too. They're just.
It's literally like, how can I get most attention? How can I be the victim? All about me. Why can't it be about me? I want it to be about me so bad.
Literally.
That's literally what it is. Which, again, it's if you care so much about these problems, I think it's fine to bring awareness to it, but you have to be smart about it. It can't be so. You can be aggressive, you can be very pointed and direct, there's nothing wrong with that, but you have to be smart and wise with your words. If you start to act irrationally when you're trying to bring awareness to a topic that you want other people to act rationally towards, dude, you're gonna get lost in the sauce, my guy.
I'm gonna say this again, you have to be brave. You have to be brave, you have to be willing to, if things go bad, you gotta, stick to it, try to figure it out, and if you mess up, then make up for it, say sorry. That's it. That's what it means to be an adult. That's what it means to be a man.
It takes a lot of humility, but you and me always talk about, at the end of the day, to be, whether you're a female listening to this, if you're a male listening to this, if you are anywhere in between, or F to M, or whatever the heck you identify as, at the end of the day, to be a good human being, not even the best human being, just to be a decent human being, you definitely need to have mercy and grace with one another. And when I talk about those definitions, I don't necessarily mean the biblical definitions. I literally mean to have like mercy on other people, to not be so nihilistic, to not be so nihilistic and so extremely negative to the point where you wish like extreme harm upon others, but also grace in the sense of give people the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean? Because to walk in superstition and to walk in severe paranoia like Andrew Tate does, just look at the damage that he's done. It's insane.
Also, go outside and touch some grass.
Or smoke some grass.
Or smoke whatever you gotta do. It's just, you should never go into a conversation thinking that the other person's always gonna be wrong about every single thing that they're gonna say.
Oh my god, yes. Okay, that's one thing I hate about Andrew Tate. It's just like...
Is it my way or the highway?
No, it's my way, or how about you lay down on the highway and get hit by a truck?
Yeah.
That's his type of thinking. It's like, even if you hate the person you're talking to, sometimes they do be right.
Yeah. That's true.
And honestly, that could also go for Andrew Tate.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with him on the vaping thing. I mean, I don't agree with him on the cigar, but vaping isn't good for you, honestly.
Yeah, but then the way he goes about it is like, oh.
Yeah, it's you can only listen to like every other word, and it's like, oh.
I gotta black out the rest.
It's kind of like Bob and his dad from Bob's Burgers.
Right.
Where he's like, oh yeah, I can only, what do you say? He's like, I can only listen to my dad for like.
Oh, you had a baby girl? So you named her Tina, huh? It's like, that's exactly what Andrew does.
Yeah.
Is I can see that he wants to say stuff of substance, but it just comes out so bad, and it's just...
By the way, that's how I know people aren't balanced. Whenever I hear someone who's like that extreme about something, I'm like... He's hurt over something happened to him. His childhood was horrible. I just, right, like you don't need to tell me anything. I just already know.
You a mind reader now?
No, it's just like based on everyone that I've ever met who is completely unbalanced and has had a lot of trauma. Is always like that. Is always an extremist.
I mean, I think everyone's unbalanced to a point, and it's okay to be, like I said, assertive with some of the points that you believe in and stuff. But I think, again, with people like Andrew Tate specifically, is that he speaks from a place of really extreme, like you said, nihilism and just hatred. And you can tell it's like, you say you hate women and stuff like that, but you can tell it's something a lot deeper. Like there's just, because you and me are very spiritual people, and they're just like the vibes are very off with him.
They're very off.
They're super off with him.
You should never become a flanderized version of yourself.
Oh,
do you know what I'm saying by that?
Bro, you're so right though.
Yeah, like it's just.
Well, it's so funny because Andrew Tate is literally like a Family Guy character.
Yeah, he is.
Like I could literally
like
see
you could,
him
and
as
that's
a character.
and that's
in the show.
that's what I'm saying. Like you should never like those. It's not real. Those people aren't real.
Which brings us back to the very beginning of what we were talking about, is that young men are accidentally flanderizing themselves by listening to these men who they themselves have no idea what they're doing. And trust me, they do not have the best interest for you in.
I suggest instead of listening to this guy sitting, paying him, go outside, meet a bunch of new people, men, women. Don't try to ask nobody, how do you talk to women? Dude, just go talk to a girl, man. Just be nice. Like just live and learn. Don't be like, you don't ask her out because you think she's pretty. Don't ask her out because you don't. If you see a woman you think she's pretty, don't try to ask her out. Like,
bro, just be chill.
Be chill. Like actually take your time. Like you're gonna meet a friend and try to get to know them.
Oh my god, me and you need to have a separate video about talking about just men in general and how oh my god, how horrible it is. How sad and horrible it is and pathetic it is when they like view women on such a huge pedestal to the point where they don't view them as humans and they start stuttering to talk to them and stuff. And it's like, bro, what you mean? They're human, just like you.
But you know what?
They poop just like you.
Those guys are the ones who are listening to Andrew Tate's videos because for some reason in their mind they're so like extremist about like they're like view of women and this and that. So then when they listen to Andrew Tate, he's like the opposite, right? So I think in reality they're trying to seek balance. It's just they're going from one extreme to the other.
There is no balance.
Yeah, they can't do it because it's like, okay, don't put him like they don't poop or anything, and don't treat him like Andrew Tate does. Like that's exactly. You're just
like this is so unfortunate because this is what the balance is now for a lot of young men out there on the internet. And they're practicing it in their daily lives, which is either I hate women or I'm so terrified of them that I'm gonna throw up if I even look in their direction, and then they end up being incels. Yeah. It's just like, bro, y'all need balance, yin and yang, my guy. You need to be able to find that sweet spot. And this is something that I always try to preach about on my channel, is that literally everything is gray in your life. Nothing will ever be black and white, and two things can be true at once, and it doesn't always have to be so effing extremist. In the words of Ice Cube, left wing or right wing, same damn bird. You know what I mean?
Literally. And honestly, I don't care. I'm gonna say it again. Go outside, please.
Like
you
do something.
Like you said earlier, if you get on TikTok, no matter where you get on, the algorithm will show you like 10 million videos, and you're gonna go down the hole of whatever. Yeah, you're gonna go down the pipeline, and then
these
just get stuck.
Nowadays, they Mario.
Yeah.
Going through all pipes.
Yeah, and then you just get stuck.
Get out the effing pipe and
you're living the dream, trying to be like this, like super macho dude trying to save the princess, like freaking Mario does over and over again to the Princess Peach. But it's like, that's just fake. It's just the game.
And I know us saying like, just don't go outside, it's kind of like the equivalent of Andrew saying depression isn't real, just take a walk or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. But I would say a good place to start, to not be so extreme, is honestly start with yourself. Do a lot of self-reflecting, meditate, like dead ass, go take a yoga class, go chill for a sec, go outside, look at the trees, appreciate nature. Like,
also, if it all sounds boring to you, that means you should really do it. It means you should really open yourself up and do it. Don't be it's not girly, blah blah, it's not boring. Just try to do it, and then the more you push.
What you're practicing by doing that is you're practicing mindfulness and enjoying the small moments in your life, and it's gonna transform it so much.
You'll find a lot more enjoyment out of life.
Yeah, and then pretty soon you'll find that you don't crave cars, money, and instead you will crave stability in your life, and that will naturally draw people towards you. And
you will also probably you'll probably get bored at one point and then start craving, hey, I want something fun for me.
Yeah. Oh, how about I do woodworking? How about I
I want
take
something
a class,
wow, there's so much to life. What can I do? Like for me.
Okay. And then that's how you start to develop your own unique identity outside of the internet, outside of this guy who's taking advantage of you in all sorts of ways.
I think that's a pretty good place to wrap it up.
So we have made it to the end of the video. If I were to wrap it up in just this sentence, I would say to anyone who's listening, be careful. Tread carefully on the internet. You will never personally know who's talking to you through that screen. And it's very important for you to be able to self-reflect and grow an identity outside of the people that you see on the internet, because the internet is always going to let you down and it's completely fake. And again, my friend, I tell you that it is the quickest and most fastest way to unhappiness that you can take. This path that Andrew Tate is making you go on or whatever, it's going to lead to a lot of unhappiness. Now, this isn't me saying that you should change your views completely. I think everyone should be balanced. However, it's going to be very hard to reach a place of emotional intelligence and stability when you follow people who are incredibly extreme. You will never be able to walk out of that filter of black and whiteness, and you will never be able to see things as they really are, and you will never be able to scratch more than just the surface in many situations in your life. When I see people like Andrew Tate, I honestly don't see an alpha male. I just see someone who is doing an excellent job at his job, which is to exploit and take advantage of young men's minds and pockets. I don't think that there should be a war against women or a war against bringing back manhood or whatever, but instead start with yourself. Because the more you do that, the more you'll be able to trust yourself and your ability to be able to smell the bullshit from far away. And I fear that's something that's not going to happen anytime soon with people who follow Andrew Tate. But alas, people have to go through what they have to go through in order to become who they need to be later on in life. Even if an Andrew Tate fan or someone who defends him watches this video and still hasn't had their mind changed at all, that's honestly up to them, and that's fine. But I hope that I at least was able to inform some people who are listening, or even maybe plant a little seed inside those who doubt people who criticize Andrew Tate. Thank you so much to my lovely fiance Kevin for talking with me. He doesn't have any social media, so y'all can't follow him anywhere. but you guys can give him some love and support in the comments. Speaking of which, remember to like and subscribe and comment down below your opinion on Andrew Tate and what you think is the real problem with him. Thank you guys so much for watching. Today was a very long video, but it was definitely worth it because this was a long time coming. Just alpha males and these freaking dating gurus and all this type of content is something that I could honestly talk about for hours because I'm very passionate about it and talking about how wrong it is. If you guys watched the entire thing, please comment down a duck emoji down in the comments below. Make sure to follow me on SoundCloud and also follow me on Instagram. Also guys, I finally launched a Patreon. So if you want to join my Patreon, I do have a $1 tier and also a $5 tier at fellow comrades and honorary homie. Thank you so much to all my patrons who helped me make this video. Before I end this video, I just want to say I want you to do something very important for me, and that is to drink water, take a nap, maybe take a shower if you haven't in a while, go outside, do something that you love today, but whatever you do, make sure that today is a good day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!